Thank you for being here today at Bocconi University. We would like to do a quick interview, talk about energy and geopolitics. Before starting, we wanted to ask you about your career path and what you led to be here today.
Okay, many thanks for having me. I study political science and then international relations, and since then I develop an interest in energy and international relations. So I work in a think tank called Fondazione Enrico Mattei in Milan, where I made my first steps there in the research analysis of energy markets, energy geopolitics and policy in Europe, North Africa, Middle East, and around other regions. And the idea is that I think that without energy, there cannot be any socio-economic development, and so the interlinks between energy, social, technological, economics, and also international relations is very interesting for me.
Okay, thank you. So we'll talk about the energy, I guess. To start, we wanted to ask you about Europe. So Europe has significantly reduced its dependence on Russia since 2022, and what happened between Ukraine and Russia. And do you think that made all this change in the energy mix has made Europe energy security stronger, or do you think it's just being more dependent on other geopolitical actors?
So I think that it's very important to understand that for Europe, but also for other countries in general, there cannot be independence from others. So in a sense, Europe became much more stronger, because it became more aware about the risk, about over-dependence. At the same time, it shifted its dependence into other players, but it's important to accept the fact that there cannot be autonomy in general. You need to be more focused on risk management, diversification, and so in this sense, I think the energy crisis led to a greater awareness of the risk. At the same time, Europe managed to cope with the crisis, but at very high cost, and the costs we are facing now lead to other important policy decision for governments.
Thank you. Still regarding Russia and Ukraine, we wanted to know, we often hear a lot about these rare earth minerals of Ukraine, and we wanted to know what is it about, why are so strategic for Ukraine, and what's happening between the US and Ukraine for this area.
So first of all, I think that it's important to clear the air and say that there is no rare earth elements in Ukraine based on official data set, public official data set in database. So first of all but the agreement and the deal that the US and Ukraine are working on highlight the fact that minerals in general are becoming much more relevant in the international economy, international affairs, because without minerals you cannot have all the digital, military, and also clean technologies that are required for today and also for tomorrow. The deal is very unclear, I would say, again, the relevance is that without minerals, you cannot have technologies, and as of today, the critical minerals in general, not only rare earth elements, are very concentrated in few countries, the extraction and the production, and also the refining. And so this deal highlights the fact that countries are posing much more importance and attention to economic resilience, and also the resilience of supply chains, and this is required to build alternative value chains compared to those that we have today, because today are controlled basically by China. Okay.
talking about China, indeed, we wanted to know about, since its leadership in renewables and in innovation, what's the point? How does it stand China in energy security, and of course its connections with Russia that is really strong for energy security mix in China, and the implication after this war.
So China is a very big player. It accounts for 22% of world energy demand. So obviously it relies a lot on fossil fuel imports from the Middle East, but also from Russia. And it's particularly interesting to analyze China because it combines different approaches to energy policy. Energy policy deals with security, equity, the low prices, and sustainability. So it's very important because China became the powerhouse of all the clean technologies, especially solar. China contributed to reduce the cost of solar, and so it contributed to accelerate the deployment of renewables also across the world, and also becoming more important in other technologies such as electric vehicles, batteries, and so on. So the approach of China is to build a new energy system, but keeping alive the old system based on coal, very much, but also oil and natural gas, in order to preserve this security and equity part. And when they will have in place all the green system, they could actually switch off the old one. And so he also project is outside and to the other part of the world, this approach to more pragmatic, I would say. And so also for Europe and the US, kind of push them to question and reconsider their approaches to energy policy, climate policy, not only within their borders, but also outside.
Very interesting, thank you. So just to conclude, you talked about renewable resources, and in particular, we wanted to know more about hydrogen. It's often referred as the big game changer of the future. Is this real? Has the possibility to be a real game changer? Who has the competitive advantage? Which country or which region has the competitive advantage, and which are the threats in the future for these countries?
So hydrogen is very important. Often is seen as a swift knife because you can use hydrogen for a variety of sectors. But I think that it's very important for governments to actually pursue and encourage the use of hydrogen, the ramp up of hydrogen in those sectors where we do not have any technological alternatives such as electrification, renewables. And so it's better to use hydrogen in, for example, R2A-based sectors, heavy industry, maritime shipping, and aviation. The dilemma is actually a chicken-egg dilemma, because we know that there are many countries that have a competitive advantage to supply green hydrogen or blue hydrogen at very low cost, for example, North Africa and Middle East countries. But at the same time, we need to ramp up the demand. And so governments need to actually encourage the use of hydrogen in those sectors where it's more feasible, more reasonable to use it. Again, the R2A-based sectors. But in order to build an economy, a market, it takes time. You need to have in place both the demand, both the supply. You need to have the stability. You need to have contracts. You need to have infrastructure, regulatory frameworks. So it takes time. But Europe, for example, will be ideally an import-dependent country or continent for hydrogen. And so it needs to work to those countries where we know that it's more competitive to produce, and for especially in the Mediterranean region. And so this gives new opportunity to create frameworks and partnership with these countries.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.